Okay, so DFS for the week. I'm furiously bringing up my DFS because that's the one thing I forgot to look at before before I departed for carpool pickup. Thanks, honey. Uh, Mom was in town. Didn't want to make my wife sit in the car through the whole time. That seemed fair.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, it's nice of me. All right, DraftKings, your top options for the Thursday night showdown slate. Justin Jefferson, number one, 16-5. The disrespect. Do you like that? How do you like me now? Or how do you like that now, Kirk Cousins? Number two, actually, Dalvin Cook at 16-2. Pretty good work by DraftKings there. Alexander Madison's 14-7. I like it when they do this because it forces, like if Dalvin Cook's out, and Madison's 8-7, it's literally everyone of their brother will have Madison in there, a ton of Madison captain. Now you really have to wait till inactives come out. And even if Dalvin Cook is active, you're not sure that he's a guaranteed, 70, like we don't know how many snaps he'll get versus how many snaps Madison get. I would think they'll probably chop it up. I would doubt that they give Cook like 90% of the snaps. So they priced both of those running backs up there, which I like. Because they have to do this pricing ahead of time when before guys are rolled out. And Thielen priced up too at 12.9. Cousins 15.6. Deontay Johnson 15.3. Najee Harris 15K even. Madison 14.7 as I mentioned. Roethlisberger 13.5. Claypool 11.1. Freiermuth 9.9. Conklin 9.3. We get to the backup quarterbacks. My boy Dwayne Haskins, and then KJ Osborne 8.4. And then it really starts to drop off into the defenses and the kickers. First of all, who do you like up top at the captain spot?
Well, quickly, I think you're right on that. I think you're right on with the Cook situation where it's like you kind of got to wait and see what happens here. But even still, pay attention to the reports too, because it reminds me of something that we saw last week with the Rams, where all morning long it was Darrell Henderson's not going to play. He's going to be inactive. He can't play. He's injured. Then all of a sudden you get kind of middle in the afternoon, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, no, he's actually going to be active. And then you got to look at the reports and they say, well, it's really still going to be the Sony Michel thing. I could tell so many people probably still played Henderson just to see what would happen, and they got burned by it. And if you played Sony Michel, he had a monster day over 120 yards. So it could be something very similar here with Mattinson and Cook. Just pay attention to what goes on because it really could impact the slate. For me, I still like Deontay Johnson. I like Justin Jefferson. If we're looking for value, Conklin to me makes the most sense. He's the one that I think if you want to really kind of get a little bit contrarian and see yourself as, fading away from those top tier guys, trying to build a more well-rounded roster. Conklin's a guy who's going to get a ton of volume, could even get those red zone looks that Adam Thielen's been getting this season. So to me, that's somebody that I've been paying attention to a lot.
Yeah, I think if you're trying to, there is some value on the back end of these groups, I guess. Like, maybe there's not. Like you have CJ Ham, you have Benny Snell, guys are around $1,000 who get runs in like specialty spots. DD Westbrook. Yeah, he played like 31 snaps for the Vikings last week, but we don't know how exactly. There's still, there's some value. So you can go up top and go Justin Jefferson as a cat. Like Justin Jefferson is my favorite captain.
Yeah, sure.
I think by far.
You like his, 90 yards.
Yeah,
over
from a pure, like, although now if you do Jefferson, you're probably going Cousins. I guess the question, I haven't really thought about how these builds go. Like, all right, let's.
Well, this is a weird game too, because it's not, because we talk a lot about like, okay, you could go 4-2 and all that stuff. It's hard to really kind of see which way this one's going to lean. You can see both offenses kind of having good days. So maybe it's more 3-3 builds. It's interesting how it would play out.
Yeah. It's like hard to, it's hard to get to where it's hard to get where you want it to be because we both like the under. But then it's like easy to be like Justin Jefferson's Cousins,
right?
Big Ben, Deontay. Whereas if we think it's going to go under, maybe it behooves us to go with a defense or maybe here's the option. How about Najee Harris, captain?
Okay.
Sorry. Oh, my bad, producer Chris. Had already jammed in Jefferson and Cousins. Yeah, let's clear that out. Yeah, you're doing the best you can to follow my meanderings. Don't worry about it. Let's go Najee Harris at captain. So that's 15K. And then that allows us we can get Justin Jefferson. I think, you go Justin Jefferson and Kirk Cousins in there. I don't really care about having Big Ben in any lineups.
I could fade him. It's only if you're going to have, I mean, if like Freiermuth's your captain, you probably want Big Ben because you're banking on the receiving touchdowns, and you probably want it on the back end with Roethlisberger as well.
Yep.
You don't even really need it for Deontay Johnson because if you're just banking on the 10 catches for 98 yards or 100 yards, that doesn't do a ton for Ben Roethlisberger. You're getting that more for the reception. So to me, yeah, I could. There's a path here to the optimal without Ben Roethlisberger for sure.
Okay, what if we added? Let's get. Can we get greedy and add? We're at Deontay here at 10-2, and then we have to go cheap. So we got, what do we have? 1,700 per pop left. We can go with the D.D. Westbrook. Might have to go with a $200 person here.
You can go. You can go ham. I don't know if I love
ham.
I don't know if I love that, but
D.D. Westbrook and ham, or D.D. Westbrook and what's the guy's name? Emir Smith Marset. He's $200. I think he caught a. I think is he a rookie? He's probably a rookie. Yeah, he caught. What did he have? He had one catch last week. His first catch of the season. Ugh.
Does Chris Herndon start to be more of a factor now? Maybe with.
He played 17% of the offensive snaps last week. Smith Marset. He's $200. So plop him in and take out Westbrook. And let's see what that gives us. He's $200. Yes. Smith Marset. It's probably gonna be way down there. Heard it's $200 too. I don't even want to see him on Draftkings. There we go. Smith Marset right there. Third. Yeah. Yep. You got him. All right. So that leaves us 3,200. Scroll up and just see who else we can get.
Get Ray McLeod.
D.D. Westbrook just doesn't get me really excited.
No.
For understandable reasons. Although he played 42% of the offensive snaps against Detroit. 2 targets, 1 catch for -2 yards. They gave him punt returns. If he broke a punt return, he's handled punt returns all year long. It's gotten some decent snap percentages. With Thielen out, maybe that Westbrook thing makes sense.
Okay. I can talk myself into it for sure.
Yeah. So let's go Westbrook at 2,200. Let's leave $1,000 on the table. And then you've got Najee and Deontay, which is fine with me because any Steelers offense, I mean, like largely flows through them.
Yeah.
Unless you want, and the other option would be to switch Deontay to Claypool if we think he's going to have a better game. But even if he gets to 60 yards, he's not guaranteed a touchdown by any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
So we got a 4-2. I would guess that. Do you think we see more? Do you think it'd be more Steelers heavy or more Vikings heavy?
Probably more Steelers. I don't know. I always, say like the bigger fan base will, just
attract more interest.
Just attract
and the
more
Vikings
people,
the Vikings are more expensive too.
Yeah.
And people want to go away from those running backs. Yeah, I don't hate that. All right. Why don't you build out you pick a captain, you build one out. I do think your theory on targeting these cheaper captains, whether it's a KJ Osborne or a Tyler Conklin, might actually be the way to go.
Yeah, like it's possible there. I don't know how, it might be popular, it might not be. I'm actually interested in the thing that I just said earlier. As much as we were saying we want to fade Ben Roethlisberger here, I kind of like I think a lot of people will. I think people will look at Roethlisberger and say, you know what, I don't really need this in my life right now. But it's just it's just how I see it going down. But let's try with Freiermuth as a captain, which in essence put Ben Roethlisberger in there, and let's see how that kind of looks.
Yeah, let's go Big Ben captain. No, I mean, Big Ben had.
Do you think Ben Roethlisberger captain, or do you think Freiermuth captain in that?
I see what you're saying.
Because if you're gonna have Freiermuth as your captain, obviously you need to have Ben Roethlisberger in there because you're banking on touchdowns at that point. You're not banking on, more than anything else.
Sure. So Big Ben, and then
I think you can kind of really play along here. I mean,
I would think you could probably plug a bunch of. Depends on how you want to split it up. Like you can probably do Najee, Justin Jefferson.
You can't do Cousins,
right?
Let's see.
Deontay.
So you can throw in Najee and you can throw in Justin Jefferson, and then you got 5. You got $10,000 to play with, so 5 apiece. You could
KJ
go.
Osborne, 5'6". Oh, no, sorry, you pick who you want to pick. I'm not. Don't let me.
No, you're fine. I would go. Let me see.
Or you like Conklin too?
I do like Conklin, but I
Do
don't know.
Conklin at 6'2" and
6'2". Yeah, you could go Conklin at 6'2", and then you can kind of have whatever you want there on that back end. Maybe
you could toss a kicker in there too.
Let's see. And you can throw
Yeah.
Boswell in there. Let's see.
Boswell,
Yeah. I
Boswell,
don't
I mean,
hate
you're
that.
indoors.
Yeah.
Steelers
I don't
aren't
hate
afraid to
that.
kick a field goal.
Yeah, that's a very contrarian one. It's a little. It's just a more Steelers heavy, but in a different different kind of way. There, it's if you want to fade those heavy hitters, whether it's Najee, Johnson, Jefferson, you're going with Freiermuth. It's a guy who's certainly able to find the end zone. Roethlisberger throws to him. And my thinking is, again, if Freiermuth's getting a touchdown game, multi-touchdown game, I don't see how Roethlisberger is not in that optimal lineup because he's going to be he's throwing the football there.
If Freiermuth is your captain, you need to have Big Ben in there.
Yeah,
because he's going to win on touchdowns. And so if you could even make the argument if I guess you got Freiermuth. I mean, Najee's in there. I was going to say you could fade Najee. This is sort of more an over lineup too, instead of a pure under lineup. The other thing, I mean, I don't hate if you go Minnesota defense in the captain spot. Just wondering if you can do Pittsburgh, do the double defense spot, and maybe this game is just not nearly as big as people think.
Right.
Or actually, what you do is you make sure you got the ditch the quarterbacks, and so if you did Minnesota defense is your captain spot, Pittsburgh, Jefferson, Madison, Najee, certainly, yeah, and then Chase Claypool. So I mean, you're banking on. I mean, maybe you could go kickers instead if you wanted to in there, but that's 4 pretty good: Chase Claypool, Najee Harris, Alexander Madison, and Justin Jefferson. 4 pretty good skill position guys, along with the 2 defenses. And the operating theory there is you want the alpha receiver for the Vikings because Justin Jefferson can get to 125 yards with no touchdowns.
Yeah.
You want Claypool, who's not going to be drawing Pat P's coverage. And then you have Najee and Alexander Madison, who we think will get the lion's share of carries. You can axe out Greg Joseph on that one and grab the Steelers defense, Chris. But I mean, not that it matters that much.
I don't know.
Have it up there.
It's not necessarily like Costanza-y, but I think that one's going to be really rare. I think that's.
I don't think people will want to take the defenses in this game.
Right. It's exactly what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, I don't think they trust the defense. Like, this is one. There's this dude. I can't remember what it was, Brick 75 or what BRIC on 75. He's always he always has the 2 defenses on games where it's like, why would anybody play defenses here? And then it ends up being like this defense game where, the Vikings house one or the Steelers have a, strip sack fumble, you get enough points there. And so let's say it's 20-17. You can get there just because there won't be a ton of scoring from the offenses. And if
there's also a good narrative for both of those, for this game to be low scoring. The Steelers let down off that big win against the Ravens. And also, I could so see just the way that this season has been going for Mike Zimmer and the way that they looked last week. If the Steelers punch them in the mouth with a Najee Harris touchdown opening drive, the Vikings could go home. I mean, they could just pack it in, and then it's a low scoring game. It's not out of the realm of possibility there.
I think the Steelers, I think both teams offensively will be invested in trying to prevent this from becoming a shootout. I think that's sort of how they philosophically operate. And the Vikings, we talk about this all the time. The Vikings are the team that accidentally create these shootouts. Like they turn everything into a shootout on accident. Maybe they're able to run against Pittsburgh, and their offensive line is banged up. Like we mentioned, Darisaul's out. They're just not a very good offensive line. They're not going to want to have Cousins drop back 500 times. I know we have over in completion or over in the pass attempts and all that, but I mean, you can have 32 pass attempts without, scoring a ton of points.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of like that as a good Costanza option. Any other thoughts on this DFS slate?
Well, I mean, I'd be remiss if we didn't bring up the running back situation for Minnesota. Obviously we're talking about the injuries and stuff like that, but Dalvin Cook questionable. We don't know what his status is going to be, but maybe we make one. If he plays, or I don't know because again, that's top 5 fantasy football draft picks in season longs. He's probably in a lot of playoffs right now, or about to be in the playoffs for a lot of these teams. So maybe he's somebody that we should be looking at too, obviously.
Yeah, maybe. Here's a problem. He's 16-2. So it's like, even if he is, they're like Dalvin Cook is, there's a major contrarian angle to playing Dalvin Cook at 16-2, particularly in the captain spot.
Yeah.
Where if he gets 60% of the snaps and scores 2 touchdowns, you're going to have him on your roster if you want to win big. I don't think most people will have the stomach to play him.
Yeah.
Unless there's a report like Dalvin Cook is full go, he will get 100. Like he's the starter. He's a starter. He's going to see a huge share, and it's from somebody you trust, right? Where it's not like they're just sitting that out there to scare off the Steelers, and it'll be too late at that point anyway.
What would a report do? What would it do to you if you've heard a report where it was 50-50 timeshare Mattinson Cook?
I
got to stay away, or
staying away from the Vikings running backs.
Yeah.
Because Madison's 14-7 and Cook is 16-2. You have to, if you want to have one of those guys in there, you have to make a stand and say, this will be the guy. Like we were building these, yeah. Now the other thing you could do, this is if you really wanted to play it a low scoring game. So the lineup we have right now, don't clear it out, but take Madison out. Oh no, sorry. Take Justin Jefferson out. And let's put in Dalvin. And this is just like these two teams are going to run the ball 100 times.
Yeah.
Scroll all the way up.
This is a Buffalo 3-pass game for New England.
Yeah, I don't know if we can get that. Yeah. So we're at 1,200 left. Wow. So that frees up money, huh? Because he's that much cheaper than him. I was even going to go down to, I'm sure there's, I was going to go down to a kicker from Claypool and really embrace the no scoring thing. Take Claypool out and just see. No, you can't get to Deontay. Yeah, Claypool's your next real option.
Yeah, that's your ceiling, really.
Yeah, so we'll stick with Claypool, I guess. The idea, I don't know that you can fade the receivers. Just fade the receivers completely. That's kind of insane.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I don't think.
How about this? Take out Madison, plop in Jefferson, and let's see and you can still go Claypool. So basically, you just flipped out Cook for Madison.
Yeah.
And 0. Yeah. I would say this. If I do this lineup, or when I do this lineup, I will build one with Cook and one with Madison.
Yeah.
In the event that it is a 50-50 or Cook is 60-40, you want to be able to have some Cook action, especially when Cook will be very low owned, just because a lot of people build these way ahead of time. You do have, people change them up once the news comes out, but you have to be on top of the inactives. You can't be out at a candle lighting or or you're watching like a Christmas tree lighting or whatever it is, on Thursday night, and expect to be swapping out your lineups with the Dalvin Cook news. So
I'll tell you this though, if they're doing the Christmas tree lighting around Thursday Night Football, you got to move.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah,
you just got to move anyways.
I'm going to the lights. I'm going to the lights. Or I went to the lights last night on Wednesday night.
Exactly. That's when you do it midweek or like a Saturday.
Can't go Thursday. Yeah.
No.
Or Sunday, really. All right, that'll do it for us for the DFS breakdown here on the Pick Six Podcast. Sully, always a pleasure, buddy. We will talk on Monday.